city. He can create a retreat in the middle of the maelstrom. Hear sounds of silence within. Tame mind, train mind, fixate on inner strength, locate inner spirit, experience deep emptiness, open up mind. He can achieve compassion toward all others, whether caught up in the hurly-burly or the isolation of the lonely traveler.
When you quiet thoughts, you can hear clearly. Even in city noise, hear what matters. Use good mantras in your meditation. Ego shouts in the street. Wisdom whispers. Even in city noise, hear what matters. Anger can be your own worst enemy. Ego shouts in the streets. Wisdom whispers. Understand the true role of suffering. Anger can be your own worst enemy. Simplify life. The rat race is a choice. Understand the true role of suffering. Own fewer things. Your heart will feel lighter.
Whether it's the cry of the raven in the countryside or the honk of the crosstown bus in the city, he can create a retreat in the middle of the maelstrom. Hear sounds of silence within. Tame mind, train mind. Fixate on inner strength. Locate inner spirit. Experience deep emptiness. Open up mind. He can achieve compassion toward all others, whether caught up in the hurly-burly or the isolation of the lonely traveler.
When you quiet thoughts, you can hear clearly. Even in city noise, hear what matters. Use good mantras in your meditation. Ego shouts in the street. Wisdom whispers. Even in city noise, hear what matters. Anger can be your own worst enemy. Ego shouts in the streets. Wisdom whispers. Understand the true role of suffering. Anger can be your own worst enemy. Simplify life. The rat race is a choice. Understand the true role of suffering. Own fewer things. Your heart will feel lighter. Simplify life. The rat race is a choice. Kindness is the doorway to inner strength. Own fewer things. Your heart will feel lighter. Patience and discipline overcome desire. Kindness is the doorway to inner strength. Use good mantras in your meditation. Patience and discipline overcome desire. When you quiet thoughts, you can hear clearly.
Whether caught up in the hurly-burly or the isolation of the lonely traveler, he can achieve compassion toward all others. Open up mind. Locate inner spirit. Fixate on inner strength. Train mind tame mind, experience deep emptiness. Hear sounds of silence within, whether it's the cry of the raven in the countryside or the honk of the crosstown bus in the city. He can create a retreat in the middle of the maelstrom.
I guess you're saying eternity?
Meditation in the maelstrom.
So we just watched Meditation in the Maelstrom, which is directed by Burnham Holmes, and we have the actor Ken Holmes from the film. I'm really excited to talk about the film. I have a lot of questions and reflections, but first I would love everybody to introduce yourselves. Please introduce yourselves, tell us which city you're logging in from, and share one good news with us today. We're going to start with Burnham, who is the director of the film. Burnham?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Burnham Holmes.
Can you hear me?
I live in Poultney, Vermont. and also spend a lot of time in New York City. I'm really happy to have a close collaboration with my son. I model a lot of my life on my own father, and I always wished he were closer to me than he was. And so I am trying to remedy that by being close to my son. And one of the things that I enjoy most is collaborating with him on these short films and making poetry films. And to have it shown in this venue makes me happy.
Such an honor and pleasure to have you here today, and very thankful to all our panelists. Ken, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ken Holmes. I'm a actor, writer, and filmmaker in New York City, and I played Walker in Meditation in the Maelstrom. It's always a pleasure collaborating with my dad, Burnham, and we make these poetry films right now, which is kind of what we're experimenting with. We both write poetry, so it felt like a natural thing to do. And we make films too, so combining poetry and film is kind of what we're doing right now, and loving every minute of it. And a piece of good news, well, we're currently working on an upcoming Zoom short, so stay tuned for that about, well, I don't want to say too much about it, but it involves cherry blossoms. I'll just say that.
Thank you, Ken. Karen? Karen, do you hear me? Okay, maybe Karen's audio is off. Gabrielle, can you introduce yourself and share one good news with us? Do you hear me, Ken? Okay.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Karen, can you introduce yourself? I don't think Karen and Gabrielle can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Gabrielle, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah,
and
sure.
share one good news with us?
I am a screenwriter and producer of films from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and worked with teaching meditation and with hospice for 30 years as a grief counselor, and in state prisons for quite a while. And some good news is, let's see, we also have a short coming out hopefully next month that was finished on a number of distributors, and it's called Yashodra, and it's a short about a woman who comes to the U.S. with her newly wed husband, and they have a child, and he leaves her shortly after that. And I won't say any more, but we're excited to have that finally be coming out to other people besides all the cast and people on the film who've watched it. So that'll be good. Thank you.
Gabrielle, congratulations on your short film. It's always such an excitement to hear about films being created, and I would love to watch the film one day. That would be an honor and pleasure. Karen, can you hear me? I think Karen's audio is off. She can't hear me. I'll introduce myself in the meantime. My name is Samita Nandi. I'm the director of the Center for Media and Celebrity Studies, sponsoring the Wall of Fame Film Festival, honoring and celebrating ethical filmmakers, actors, and writers among all artists. This is inspired by my PhD. My PhD was on celebrities, celebrity culture, and Yeah, one piece of good news that came out of all the study and practice, on top of all the short films that many of us have created, we have a feature film coming out, and Ken is one of the writers and actors in the film. And hopefully, today will be the last day of review of the film, and looking forward to celebrating. So yeah, that's where we are at now. So a lot of good news to come. Today we're celebrating Burnham's film, and also Burnham has a credit in our feature film. He was one of the cinematographers too, and really proud of all his short films with Zoom Short. And today, really excited to talk about meditation in the maelstrom. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure we have a lot of reflections. But Burnham, one question for you: what inspired you to do this film?
Perhaps perhaps going to India in 2016, and I went with a person I'd studied Buddhism with. I had Jim Hagen had taught 6 courses at Castleton University where I was teaching. I taught there for 29 years. I retired last May, a year ago, May. And we went there, and surprisingly, we spent 2 days in the presence of the Dalai Lama. Jim had good connections, and we heard about where he was going to be. We were in the north of India. And so to be in the presence of all these holy men, these learned lamas, prostrate at the feet of the Dalai Lama, like 3,000 of them. And we visited temples, and we did a lot of meditating. So meditation became something that was current in my life. And then spending a lot of time in New York City, I thought, wow, here we were in India, we were in these temples, we were in the Himalayas, and very peaceful surroundings. And what about meditating in the middle of one of the busiest metropolises in the world? So that's where that came from.
That's very, very enlightening. We have a viewer, Jolly Ghosh. She is joining us today, and she says, good job and keep it up. And she's also from India. Thank you so much, Burnham, for sharing that story. It's really enlightening. Ken, any reflections on performing in this film?
So we have a style when we film, which is to just kind of set up the camera and see where life takes us. And so a lot of the times we don't even know quite where it's going when we start, which I really like working in this style because sometimes you get surprised. Like the scene in the museum where I'm standing and I see like the end. We didn't plan on that. We didn't know that was going to happen, but it kind of worked out perfectly. And so we have a lot of moments like that, which is very exciting, especially in the editing process. Because in addition to being on screen, I also edited this. And so there are a lot of moments in the editing where I realized just how well shots worked out. In terms of acting in it, the role that I play is named Walker, which if you go back and you watch some of our other Zoom shorts, you'll see that Walker and Old Walker are actually recurring characters. They first appeared in one of our shorts called Thursday in New York. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. They first appeared in Thursday in New York, and they've since appeared in a couple more of our Zoom shorts, particularly our poetry films. And actually, I think Walker first appeared in The Long Goodbye.
Oh, The Long Goodbye.
Talking about the character of the father in that, which you play, was talking about writing this character named Walker. And I didn't play Walker in that.
That's true.
Played that, but But yeah, since I've started to play him, and you've played Old Walker, who is also Walker, but is an older version of Walker, reflecting on his past self.
Right.
So these are two characters, or this is one character, I guess I should say, who we have been exploring, and they've been popping up, particularly in poetry films and anything that's at all reflective. They represent being reflective, meditating, and looking at the past, and they kind of represent a joyful melancholy, if that makes sense. They are very optimistic characters, but they are also quite melancholic as well, and they'll return, I'm sure.
Yeah,
That
part
was
of that comes from E.B. White wrote an essay, Once More to the Lake, and in it he went to it was in Maine. And he went to the lake with his father, and as a child, and then later on he took his son to the lake. He as a father, and he found himself walking down the path, holding the hand of his son, not knowing if he was the son or the father, having both at the same time. And
I can't hear
I
you.
think this Walker, old Walker, is the old Walker finds himself as Walker. I don't know that Walker finds himself as old Walker.
that's really enlightening. I came across Grief Walk. And again, like Ken said, there's something joyful about it. I feel grief is the other side of the life called also pleasure. I'm not sure if I'm quoting this right. But life has, two sides at the very least, pleasure and grief. And, I'm looking at the joyful part here. And, you made me think about, the Walker and the many different characters of the Walker. Gabriel, what are your initial impressions on the film? Gabriel, we can't hear you. Can you hear Gabriel?
I cannot know.
I was off before because I had no sound. I don't know if you tried to
Yeah,
talk
now
to
you're
me.
back. Yes.
I know I
Okay.
had to go. I finally went out and came back. Maybe he'll need to do that. I don't know. I couldn't
Okay.
fix it otherwise.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So Gabriel, do you hear me now? Can you speak? No, your audio it's not coming in. So I'll let Gabriel fix the audio. Karen, can you say a few words on the film and also introduce yourself? And
Sure. Okay. I'm sorry. I was out for a while there. My sound was not working. I couldn't hear you at all. So I'm sure you said a million really wonderful things. Wasn't able to hear it. I'm Karen Clammy. I'm part of Zoom Shorts, which is part of the production company that makes short films that Burnham and Ken are a part of, and Meditation and Maelstrom is one of those films. The film is it's very moving. I love the repetition of these important things. It's like you're inside. I feel when I'm in the film, I'm inside the mantra. I'm sort of in it. It's like the film is the mantra. The film is the place. I sort of feel like you just enter from the moment it starts. You enter into the place that the film is, I think, trying to bring you to, and I think it's quite successful in bringing you right into that place. And and you leave that way too. I leave very peaceful. It's sort of like it's an experience and a good one, a good experience. So I enjoy watching it. It brings me, I guess, it's a great film to have around when you need something to bring you to a good place. If you had a rough time, it takes you right there. It's just like, it's the mark.
thank you so much, Karen. I resonate. Gabriel, can you hear us? I sent a message to Gabriel. Gabriel, your audio isn't coming in. Yeah, I'll share my reflections on the film in the meantime. The film is definitely very moving, and I was very touched. And I remember when I watched this film, it was earlier this year. At that time, I watched two other Zoom shorts. One was Spice of Life, and the other one was it was Dear Theodosia. And I had a bit of time, and I was writing reviews for those two films. And by the time I was going to publish those reviews, then Meditation in the Maelstrom came out, and I was in between Mumbai and Cyprus at that time, or Lisbon, one of those places. So I was flying out, and I was like, it would be such an honor and pleasure to actually speak on the film in person. So here we are right now. I find the film once again very moving, and poetry allows us to pause and reflect. But the film doesn't stop, and it's just so beautiful that as in a lot of poetry, when we pause, we get to reflect, but there's a sense of depth, an additional depth in this particular film. And that's probably because how the moving images are created. So it's almost like, although there's a pause, there's stillness. The stillness is still moving. There's like a performance of stillness. The stillness is performing, and the film doesn't really end. So I found a lot of depth in that, in the stillness, the performance of the stillness. And at the end, when the poetry stops, then you hear the noise of the city, and that's where I felt, okay, like the city is moving, but somewhere we really, really stopped. Just because the poetry and also all the beautiful moving images, they also came to an end. So that's just my initial reflection. I'm happy to hear from anybody else, like how they feel.
If you can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Yes,
Gabriel, yes.
Yeah, I had a lot of similar reactions to it that you did. I mean, and right from the beginning, I had this sense of being still in the middle of chaos, and it just continued throughout. And I think it was partly because of the way it was filmed, and also partly because of the way your expressions on your face and the way you looked throughout it, and just this sense of witnessing life going by, of being a witness and observing things and not being caught in them, but acknowledging what you were seeing at the same time. I thought it was done really well, and really had that sense about the whole film. And it sounds like the process was a lot the same. Yeah.
Yeah. For a while, I was a little concerned about, I could have written a lot more, and because there's so much more to say. But as we were making the film, I realized, and now watching it, the repetition of the poem with the changing of the scene sort of accentuates these basics, and they become more lodged in your being over time. And so what I was a little concerned about actually is a strength, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I'm sorry.
less is more, but with this, we have the combination of the cinematography, which I think is beautiful, and also the score by Gary Schmidt, who I absolutely love his work. We got to give a shout out to Gary Schmidt.
Gary, yes.
This
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, Gary is a classically trained pianist and composer. Graduated from Indiana University, and he lives in the area, and he's really talented, and he just noodled on the piano. He just he's something. So yeah, it's really helped by Gary's expertise and his wonderful playing. He's also a jazz pianist. So yeah, Gary was helpful, very helpful.
I
Yeah,
think if he had broken out with take 5 all of a sudden in the middle of it, it would have ruined the whole vibe. Yeah.
That's funny.
He could very well have, yeah.
Yeah, I observed the cinematography as well, and I feel it was partly intuitive and partly also a creative choice. But I would say it's more intuitive. There's so much depth with the cinematography and the role of the walker. Um, any thoughts on that? Like, was that completely intuitive, or you had some experience and you found a process that's working very well? You're already a part of such a beautiful creative process. So, can you talk about the cinematography a little bit?
I like walking cinematography, and I've noticed that where I find it successful, we did something Thursday in New York, and we were filming around Bethesda Fountain, and Ken and an actress were walking, Jillian Sawyer, were walking down the steps, and I followed them, and it was very crowded, and people parted as if they were paid extras. It was incredible. No one got in the way, and it just flowed beautifully. Um, and then this one went to the little park on 6th Street that we all know, the three of us know very well, and just walking through there too. And then following Ken at Lincoln Center, and then following him walking down the in the opera house, walking toward the stage. I like moving, the moving camera. I find that moving as well. So I and yeah, the one thing I love about New York City is there's something, I don't know San Francisco well, but in New York City, you can't walk a block without seeing 12 things that you find visually fascinating. And it's just a feast for the eye. And so we take you shoot a lot when don't know what we're doing, just to shoot. And then later on find, oh, yeah, we could use that. And Ken is a wonderful editor, and he just picks and chooses and throws in something, and it really works. He remembers, he organizes and remembers everything, and it works very well. It's like another poetry that's going on with the editing. I have such a high esteem of editors. I think they should be listed first.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like a huge shout out to all the
Without the
Yes.
editors, without the editors, there's no film.
Absolutely.
They make sense of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel editors are unsung heroes, and
Yeah.
after editing my feature film, I realized how hard it is and how rewarding it is. I was telling Ken I'm still editing, and very difficult job, but it's also very meditative, and so much of the creation is right there. So yeah, I have a huge respect for editing, and I think editing made me a better filmmaker, and a filmmaker made me a better person. And I'm really honored and proud and blessed to be part of this journey. So, yeah, and just about, walking and, walking with the camera, and the whole cinematography around walking. I explored a little bit through dance cinematography because that's a specific passion that I have. And so it's fascinating to actually discover a lot of fields and subfields around dance cinematography. I never knew about screen dance. That's a particular film genre, and it's primarily about the way the camera moves and how that's a narrative device. That's in regards to dance, but I believe, like you're exploring, walking. The camera acts as a narrative device, and it's part of, the storytelling so much, driving the story. So I'm excited to see more walks now, and of course taking a walk myself. I haven't been to San Francisco as much as I've been to New York. I've been to San Francisco once, Gabrielle. A beautiful city, very vibrant, has a lot of history. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, more stories there also.
Yeah, I've been to New York just a couple times, but I have a sense that New Yorkers, when you're talking about filming the film, and they just sort of seem like extras automatically, that they do one of two things. They have seen so many different things, they just ignore it and say, "Oh, another filmmaker, people filming coming through," and they just act themselves and don't think it's any big thing. But also the other thing is that there is so many things in New York that um, that you could spend all day. In some ways, that it's like you were saying. Also, it's like filmmaking and editing is like meditation, except you get to choose what comes into your mind and what goes through it, and what you're seeing and hearing and feeling and thinking, um, and then your reactions to what it is that we created in a film. Uh, that's the part we don't have any control over. But as filmmakers, it's pretty amazing that we actually create a meditative space for other people to see, especially in this kind of film. And it sounds like the dancing films you're talking about are very similar in seeing movement and being part of the movement as opposed to just watching it. So
Yeah, yeah. And I love also the spectatorship around it. Like, to be able to have a panel like this. And I have done a lot of festival screenings too. And Ken was a part of a lot of festival screenings. And because a lot of them are in hybrid mode, which means that, we live stream from the location we're in, and we have in-person audience. The spectatorship of the film adds so much to the meaning making of the film, and it's like an immersive learning experience, and just an immersive environment too. So yeah, I'm very excited about today again. Karen, any thoughts on camera movement?
Well, many thoughts, because it's like a totally learning every day something new, whether I'm watching a video about it or I'm doing it. And the whole idea of storytelling and movement and emotion, those three just, are connected so closely. You don't realize how much, you're filming, as Burnham was saying, and I'm walking, I'm filming, I'm doing what I'm thinking. And then in the editing process, you see how one thing connects to the next, and then you say, oh, that is what I want. I want that emotion in the story. I want that feeling in the story. And then, the whole editing process is finding all of those moments, like you were saying about Ken, finding those moments to do the storytelling. So I'm sort of hooking in more into the emotional, the audience's experience, of the film and the emotional impact. on people, and I don't think about that as much as I think I probably should, because I'm shooting and then I'm editing and I'm trying to tell the story, and I didn't get that shot that I wanted. Oh, I guess I'll do this one or whatever, and you just put it together as best as you can, and then in the end you see, oh wow, it did work because I did have something in mind from the beginning. So that that's important. The what Burnham was saying, that feeling, that walking, he had that to begin with. So I think it all flowed very well into the feeling of the film. You're moving, but just also meditating. It's sort of like movement and stillness together, which is a very interesting combination. And I really love that about the film. It takes you to both places. I have to ask you one question. How did you find take a breath? How did you find that writing on that thing? That was so funny. It worked so perfectly. And this is the end. Not really, or whatever. Where was that? That was amazing.
That was at MoMA.
Oh, was it MoMA? Oh, wow.
And
was that like an exhibit or something?
It was an exhibit, yeah. And we just went on a Friday night because it was free, and we were just getting ready to leave, and we just we were half out the door and sort of saw this and stopped and realized, ooh, okay, and then just shot it, and it turned out to be really significant.
Yeah, especially for this film. It was almost as if you said, okay, put this on the board and we'll film it, like,
no, it couldn't
it was there.
Yeah, we couldn't have proscribed anything better than that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. I love the fortunate accident of filmmaking. And you can plan things out, but then what's unscripted, unplanned, unforeseen becomes really significant, and that makes it very present. The whole idea of filmmaking, because you have to be in the moment, because that's the best. The best moments are the ones that are unforeseen. They're just accidental.
Yeah.
And, they're the ones that are full of life.
Yeah. And I thought you had strings with somebody at MoMA, like you like you were able to get somebody to see the Dalai Lama. I figured, okay, well, they can do that. He can. and now sounds even better because it was just happenstance. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
No, we had a lot of happy accidents like that, like Take a Breath and The End, and just a lot of moments like that. And some of them, like, we didn't even really notice until we were sitting down and looking at the footage and editing it, how perfect it was. And so there was this sense of discovery, sometimes while filming and sometimes while editing. And to your credit, you would always say, like, hey, let's shoot right now. And I sometimes wasn't exactly sure why. And some of that footage that you shot, like, that I wasn't sure why we were shooting, ended up being incredible, and some of my favorite shots. So you have a really good eye for what might work. And yeah, I absolutely think that you have really good intuition, and a lot of your intuition is what made the film really work.
Thank you. Yeah, well, there are a lot of cats going down the wrong alley, but that's fun too.
That's why there's a lot of footage.
Was very intuitive.
That's why you do a lot of footage.
That's why you just keep doing, like, I remember people before the digital cameras, they would take 300 shots and they would use 2,
Exactly.
There was like the 2 good ones, like, oh my God, all that film you had to develop and pay for. So it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Well, that's why we can all be filmmakers now, because, we don't have to have a fortune to shoot these things.
It's true. Oh my God.
Yeah, and in terms of continuing this story, do you have similar poetry films coming out? Are you writing more poems? Burnham, Ken?
Yeah, I'm always writing more poems. I just, last night I was thinking about these short films are a new way of doing poetry. I've been writing poetry for most of my life, but doing poetry as a film is a new way to expand the vocabulary of poetry. Not only a visual image of the words, but a visual representation of the words. Just as words can be filtered into the visual can be transformed into words. This can expand meanings in ways often not foreseen. It helps you experience the words in an expansion of scope and meaning. The ordinary observation can blossom into the extraordinary. I was trying to think of what we might be talking about last night. That's one thing I wrote.
You
Yeah,
wrote a poem, right, Burnham, last
excuse
night?
me?
Did you write a poem last night? I think you were saying for today.
Oh, well, I've written, I'm in a ekphrastic poetry show right now. That's writing from paintings and stuff. I have one, I didn't write this last night, but a recent poem. This has to do with the movie Casablanca. So, and looking at a painting, which is called "The Girl in the Black Hat" by Donna Chavano. Here's looking at you, kid. In black hat, wandering hills of my dreams, wondering how long to get anywhere, on roads that scrolled out in unwritten reams of blank dead ends and who the devil cares. Although I might remind you of Monk's scream and in need of a search and rescue team, were you expecting a Rick or Ilsa or perhaps a Tristan or Isolde? Now, when I see you standing before me and seeing the look in your eyes, I knew you have no clue where to go to be free, what path on your side that you should pursue. Perhaps we can guide each other like Virgil as we pass through our dark wood of error. I write a lot of Shakespearean sonnets. I was very taken to that in college, I guess. But I used to try to write a poem a day, and probably not doing that anymore. But I try to write a lot of poetry.
I randomly write. A lot of times nature inspires me, and I haven't published those poems. I did a poetry film on dance. So I shot the dance, but I still have to add the poem. So I'm very much behind when it comes to reading poetry and publishing poetry. It's just because like I have so many other films and books going on, but just yesterday I actually started to put together actually that particular poem, that dance poem. It's inspired by my mom, and so just yesterday I turned some of her images into moving images into videos. So thanks to AI, I'm very critical of AI, but so I was able to turn a lot of her images into videos, and so long way to go. I'm very slow with this, but I love poetry. I love poetry film. It's a new genre that I discovered in the last 1 or 2 years, and yeah, I feel like, whenever we can, it's such a blessing to be able to write poetry, to read, to publish, or just do poetry films. Instead of publishing, you can have poetry films. I'm a huge advocate for that. So it's wonderful that you wrote the poem yesterday, and I still have a long way to go, but this is very inspiring. Gabrielle, do you like poetry?
I do. And that poem that you just read, as soon as you said movie Casablanca, I loved it because my wife and I, it was the first movie we watched together when we first met, like, I don't remember how long ago it was, 39 years ago or something. And we watch it every New Year's Eve on our anniversary. So I really liked your poem that you wrote, and I'm sure I like everybody else's too. But
Like I said, mine has a long way to go. It's taking a lot of time, but I'm really proud of, like, again, just to write and present.
yeah,
So, are you publishing, Burnham, your poems, or are you
No, I'm
presenting?
not. I read them at local open mics,
Yeah.
and as I said, there was an ekphrastic art show um, in the community art center where I live, and I have 2 paintings and 6 poems or something in the show. So
Well,
I
that's good
do
news.
I perform it. I used to be in a performance poetry group, drumming and poetry readers, or and so we used to perform around the state of Vermont. So I have, but I haven't put them in books yet. Uh, I have a few uh, submissions and uh, a Random House treasury of shorter poems, and an odd poem here or there, but I haven't put them in the collected poems of yet.
But
Which is
you do have, I think, what, 17 published books? Is that right?
Yes, I do have 17 published books, but no poetry books.
Yeah, it's
But now that I'm retired, supposedly I will be doing all these projects.
we have a lot to look forward to.
I have
for
four
me,
projects, but I
yeah.
don't know. The lake calls.
The link calls. You're funny. It's true. Oh gosh. No, talking about like a lot of projects. I mean, I have, what do I have? 10 books, but they're self-published books, but they're on Amazon. So you can buy them. But
That's a lot, 10.
I think it's 10. There's a book of poetry, and there's a children's book, and then the rest are screenplays or plays that are just like written out, basically. So I just went on the self-publishing kick, I guess you'd say. It was sort of very self-affirming to see everything in print on my shelf.
Sure.
You feel like really accomplished in your life.
Sure.
But making these films has also been, so there's a lot of outlets. I understand used to be it's like you feel like there's so many different directions you can go in, and there's so many valuable roads to go on. So film and writing and dancing and filming, and pictures and whatever. I counted them. I think I have 12 projects ahead of me. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Burnham always has like his fingers in a lot of pies. He's good. He's always moving. He doesn't sit still very long, except to swim, I guess.
Yeah.
Gabrielle, are your books and films related, or are they on different topics? I know you mentioned grief and loss, and meditation is something that you're very passionate about also. How about your books and your films?
yeah, it's a variety of things related, some not related. They're all on the website, gogabriel.com. So yeah, some of the films are connected to the books, but other ones are very, very different. What about I'm curious about your feature film that you said you were working on. Can you tell us anything about what that is?
Yeah, I would be happy to, because I guess all the films, I curate and I talk about. It comes with informed opinions, and I would say the feature film is probably, the biggest one. So it's basically about a dancer who goes to Lisbon, Portugal to realize her dream of dance. But the question is, will her past abuse or future wedding plan get in the way of her dream in the charming city of Lisbon? So it starts off with the dance story. It's based on a published op-ed I never thought about, turning this op-ed into a feature film. It was turning into a short film. I was in the middle of a lot of short films, and it's just that one of my short films turned into a feature film because when I put the short film together, it was 40 minutes, and I thought there was room for storytelling and there was room for education. It is inspired by my PhD in the sense that the op-ed that I published, it was part of my PhD journey, but it was a very personal story. And I thought, maybe I'll do a short film on that op-ed, and it turned into a feature film. It took over 4 years because there are four international locations. And so I have been flying around and doing shoots and edits in all these different locations. The four locations are Lisbon, New York City, Mumbai, and Toronto, where I'm currently broadcasting from. So, yeah, it has been a very long and memorable journey. And I do use both travel and dance as narrative devices. So, in essence, there's a lot of focus on movement and moving ahead. The film is dedicated to my mom and dad who crossed quite early on. And I'm very proud of all the cast and crew who supported to make this film. And Ken is part of that film. Maybe Ken can say a few words.
Yeah, it was a joy to work on. Samita came to New York and we filmed a couple scenes. I play a character called Atticus in the film, who she meets up with. And I also helped write a scene too, which is about internet dating. Which is kind of connected in a way to Zoom Shorts because when we started it, Zoom Shorts was a lot about connecting online, people calling each other over Zoom and airing their grievances and trying to connect. And we're still about connection, but not necessarily online. But yeah, I play a character called Atticus who we meet up together and we have a date. And Atticus is a thoughtful, kind of sensitive character who I don't want to say too much about him because it hasn't come out yet, but he is a very kind soul. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it was fascinating to co-create. And yeah, the dance poem that I'm working on right now, it's already out there. The the dance. It's part of a sequel that I'm envisioning, a sequel to the feature film. So fingers crossed, there's going to be a sequel. There's so much more to say. I'm just being very patient with the feature film. It turns out to be like a PhD.
Oh yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a
Sure.
humongous job. And yeah, very, very happy to be able to do so. And without the support of everybody, I mean, this would not have been possible. So
And you said it was very personal. Are you a dancer yourself? And is a lot of what happens in the film things that you've experienced yourself?
yes, yes, it's I am a dancer, and a lot of the incidents that I mentioned, I did experience them, but most of them also observe other people in real life. So I fictionalized because I didn't want to name anybody in particular. Um, so a lot of it is fictionalized. And also for storytelling, it's important to fictionalize. You want to, say a certain story in a certain period of time and space.
Hmm.
So a lot has been compressed that way. But yeah, some of it is mine, a lot of it is from others. And yeah, it was important to tell the story, I guess, in an entertaining way, also. Yeah, it has been a fascinating experience. And I haven't checked time. I guess it's 1 hour right now since we started. It has been 1 hour. Um, any final thoughts, questions, reflections?
I think this was really enjoyable and nice to meet everybody here. And there's so much creativity. It's just the possibilities are endless. And I'm just wondering, maybe we don't have time, but how everyone here selects or why do you pick this project instead of that project? Why do you spend your time doing this film instead of another film? Why do you write this poem instead of looking over and doing a different poem? How do you choose? How do you make that decision?
I could say a few words, but Burnham, do you want to go
Yeah,
first?
well, since it's a true collaboration, so oftentimes with us it begins as a conversation. We'll talk about something, and something seems to ignite, and then a poem coalesces, and then we just start shooting, and when we feel like we have enough, then we sit down and do it. I have a response about watching this at this point, and that is viewing your film later. There's more to respond to it than if it were just words, and that's one thing that I find interesting. The film itself can also return you to the moment and the experience as it happened. And when I reread a poem that I've written, I don't necessarily think of when I wrote it. But when you watch this film, I remember so many things about like the ending of Meditation in a Maelstrom. There's a voice, and it at the end when Ken is walking across the crosswalk, and it says, and it's eternity or maternity, and then there's a baby cry. I thought, oh my goodness, what a fortunate happenstance, eternity or maternity and a baby cry. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That sounds like a haiku.
That's true.
Sounds like a haiku to me.
It does. It sounds like you just wrote a poem again.
Yeah.
And that's just street noise picked up.
Yeah.
And again, that's a happy accident. That wasn't even something we noticed until we reviewed the footage.
Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of value in shooting outside because you have all these happy accidents. The challenges which many of us have faced is when you do dialogues on the spot, and the boom mic might fail, or your microphone may not work well. So yeah, it is very challenging to shoot outside, and that's why there's so much value in shooting multiple times. If you have multiple shots, that's fantastic. If you have the privilege to do that, and then you can pick and choose. And the beauty with poetry films or dance films is like you can actually do voiceovers later on, and in case the external noise is challenging, then you can do all the voiceovers. So I'm just really happy that this genre is becoming more and more inclusive and accessible to people who want to tell stories in a very artistic way. And yeah, shoot outdoors. Just be very careful of the noise. And sometimes you might have those happy accidents. Like in my film, there is a shot where all of a sudden, like I turn around, I'm reflecting, and a whole bunch of pigeons, they just burst out. And that was a happy accident because it was like a crucial point
Mhm.
where the character is she's reflecting,
Mm.
so as a self-reflective practitioner, I feel there's a lot of value in, having, these reflections, these happy accidents, and then um, the moment of doing the shots is very important, but at the same time, like, when you get to screen and you get to view together, um, it's another different experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
So a lot of times I would ask filmmakers, like, how do you feel watching your film all over again, you know, right now together? It's a different experience, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes those happy accidents on the street can be unhappy accidents in that they can be funny. We were filming something, remember, Ken? We were filming something very serious between these two characters talking, and this homeless guy goes by and goes, "Help me, please help me." And so that could have been like a subliminal thought on one of the characters' parts, but it didn't quite work. I wish we could have used it, but we couldn't. But yeah, yeah. So you have those moments that you can say, "Yeah, that's great. We'll use that." And other was like, "Oh my goodness." What am I going to do with that? But yeah, that was fun. We get both. It's hard dialogue, like you're saying. Dialogue on the street is hard if you're trying to
Yeah,
be very
it was
pointed
picked up
about your
very
dialogue.
strongly too.
Yeah, yes, that was. Yeah, that was pretty. It was funny when we played it, and we went, "Oh my goodness, we can't." And it's like we couldn't take out the audio. I don't. I'm not as sophisticated in my audio editing as to be able to take out certain things. There are people that have equipment and they know how to use it, and they could take out extraneous noises. I couldn't take out that guy yelling.
Oh,
But
it's a very hard job. I just went through it.
yeah, no, I know there are people that are really talented, and I should really learn the programs and maybe help. Do I can do some things. I can't do too much, so it's a big learning curve on that one. But yeah, no, the happy accents, most of them are good though. Like you're saying, Samita, like so often you'll play something back, and you go, "Wow, look at that! The birds flying," like you're saying, or something that
Mm.
like you turn the camera and there's this beautiful rainbowish thing coming down, and you didn't know. It's just all kinds of stuff happening. When you're filming,
Yeah,
that
another
that can be
shot that
yeah,
Ken liked is the view of the ocean and the way the camera moves.
yes,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's like it does a 180-degree from two sides and
Hmm.
from two angles.
Hmm.
So again, in nature, I feel, like when you have a burst of birds or ocean waves crashing,
Hmm.
it drives the storytelling in very unspoken ways. So again, like I love outdoor shoots, although it's very challenging when it comes to sound. So take multiple shots. I guess that's my that's
Yeah.
my advice. And Gabrielle, just to go back to your question on what inspires to do these particular films, you had a very good question on that. At this point, I would say, just to add to that question, is I'm really leaning on to, I would say, souls who have been part of my journey all this time. And, you know, all of a sudden, I find, let's say, PhDs or filmmakers, all of a sudden they ask for advice, and maybe they're going into a postdoctorate phase or something, so they come all of a sudden, but they weren't really there before, like when I'm asking,
Mm.
how are you doing, and I have very few people asking me throughout this journey. And it's not about the film, it's just about life, like, how are you? And so because I got privileged with just a couple of rare souls who are really there, who are really asking, how are you, as opposed to most of them who ran away. So I'm very excited about that, and I love people who are ethical, who are high empaths, and I'm just, staying close to them, I guess. So out of conversation, if a story happens, I'm happy to consider that, so I'm sticking very close to my tribe. A lot of my tribe happens to be in Lisbon, Portugal, where I was living since 2017, and I still go back.
Mm.
And very proud of Zoom Shorts also. I had the opportunity to do one film last month, and I'm actually in one of the costumes. So from the Zoom Shorts film and from the Critic, which is the feature film. So I'm still in character. I haven't gotten out of my costume, and
But you're much nicer than the character that I know.
and I
In my
have the
film.
microphone that was used in the film too.
Oh, God.
Thank you. That was a compliment.
Yes, it was. Ken is also going to be in the film. We have yet to shoot his part, but yeah. I was going to just say quickly, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I guess you guys know who that is. You know, the famous, I guess, infamous, Hamilton, etc. One thing that he said, which is not unique, you know, but he says, whatever stays with me of my ideas is the one I do next. It won't let me go. It just grabs me and I just won't go away, and I can't stop coming back to it in my thoughts. So that happens sometimes with me, because I can have 10 ideas all at one time to go in. I don't know if any of them are going to be good. I can start to pursue it, but I think that's probably the main thing, is like, what's next that's hitting me? You know, like, I don't expect to be working on that, but all of a sudden in the middle of the night, I wake up, I go, oh, I know what to do with that, and then I'm writing or something. So I kind of flow with that. I guess it's kind of a haphazard way to think of it, but and then I have to start collecting the collaborative situation, the actors and all of that, and that sometimes will tell me which one I'm doing next, because I can't get actors, I guess, or whatever. You know? But yeah, it's a sort of like what grabs you, what won't let go.
Yeah, that's similar, I think, in my process too, especially about screenwriting, about what story to write. It's something that just stays. You can't stop thinking about different times. You always come back to it, even if you've done other things, and it's very consistent. And yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
a great
also,
takeaway. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's also, there's so many things to choose from, but you can also just ask yourself, and this is what I do. I just ask myself, where am I right now? What do I feel like doing right now? Because things can be done later. There have been multiple times I've been writing, and there are some characters that I really like, but they don't work in this story. So I cut them. I kill my darlings, as they say, and then use them later. So nothing is permanent. Just because you're not doing an idea right now doesn't mean you can't do it later. So there might be a brilliant idea, but this just isn't the right time. But a couple years from now, maybe even, then it might be the right time. And maybe that was when you should have done it all along. So I just feel like, where am I right now? What works for me right now? What do I feel like doing right now? And the rest can wait, and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But it's kind of just waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
It's also a little bit of what will you invest the effort in? There's so many, I've heard so many people over the years say, gee, I had that idea, they stole that idea. They must have been listening to me in my dreams or something.
We were.
There's a pot of ideas, and who wants to work on them? A lot of us will have an idea, but who's going to invest the time and energy to make it happen? I know this has probably happened to most people on the planet. They go to a movie or something, and I thought of that. Yeah, but you weren't going to invest. You weren't going to refinance your house and invest 10 years in that project, were you? So,
I remember once one of my sons and I were at a movie theater, and we both love soccer, football, and kung fu, old kung fu movies and stuff. I said, wouldn't it be great, as we were sitting there waiting for the film to start, if they had a movie that was both of them combined, soccer and kung fu? And then a trailer came on right before the movie that said, coming, Kung Fu Soccer. And it was like...
and you screamed out in the theater, said, that's my idea.
That was mine.
Yeah. And actually the movie was almost exactly the kind of movie that we both thought should be made. It was really pretty funny. Yeah.
You were the perfect audience then. They knew who they
Yeah,
were
we were the
making it for.
perfect audience. I guess they knew there are a lot of people in the world that love those two things.
Yes. That's very funny.
Yeah.
That's also reassuring, and what a coincidence,
Yeah. Yeah. There's an energy, karma, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Calls for more, I would
Yeah.
say that's very reassuring. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys can write the sequel.
Yeah. The sequel, I think, could be moving. Dance. You could have dance football.
Oh,
Where,
right.
where,
How
where
about
that's
dance
good.
kung
a
fu?
short, everybody's dancing on the field before they have to do a dance move before they touch the ball with their feet.
That sounds like
And
a Bollywood movie.
yeah, it'd be great.
And
Yeah,
then
and
have
then you could
judges.
have the World Cup
Judges, they
of
hold up the
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
It's a six. It's a six. He can go. He can kick the ball now.
That's right. The referee would be doing that in the middle of the field.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it
Yeah.
actually, allows us to imagine the impossible, and it actually make possibilities happen. So I'm actually reading a book right now. I'm using that book right here. It's right under the computer. I'll pull it out.
That's what books are good for.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you have to. Yeah.
No, it's just reassuring. It's called Your Mythic Journey, and I just love, the spaces in which you can mythologize your story, if that's the correct way of saying. Of course, Joseph Campbell talked a lot about this. But how do you envision? And the way Gabriel talked about, like putting two pieces together, like, dance and kung fu, or, like any sports. Um, I mean, you generally don't see that, but if you have a call for that and you want to see, okay, like what happens out of this? I mean, is this putting different pieces together that you would normally not see? And if you have a call for it, then why not? So yeah, I'm just very curious about a book like this, and to see, okay, how can you envision, in an extraordinary way? Like when I say extraordinary, it has nothing to do with glamour, but like Burnham said, out of the ordinary. Because a lot of times where we are around us, we don't really see the possibilities that we can imagine, but it's so fantastic that, we can actually make that possible, enable that. So that what makes me excited. So, and I use movement like travel and dance as narrative devices. But as Ken said in one of our interviews, it's a universal story. Ultimately we're looking at relationships like family and friends and colleagues, and the dating part in that film. It's funny, but really and truly, it's looking at like relationships and life in general. So I guess you use a certain angle and then you shed light on the rest, and just have universal stories like meditation in the maelstrom. I think it's very universal. Like it's about being in an urban city. So many of us are in big cities, and how do you go inwards? So, so yeah, I was very passionate about that film, and really happy that, we could screen and talk about it. And I truly hope that this dialogue continues. And thank you, Burnham, so much for creating and contributing this film. And Ken once said, I think in one of our media talks, I do media workshops off and on. So I think he said that independent films can act as a community building tool, which Zoom Shorts has successfully done. And and I think I had questions on media and public relations, having journalists over, and I still, think about like live online conferences and stuff, press conferences. But he said that the film is a medium, So instead of thinking about broadcast television and radio, which is my background, I was a journalist before. The film is a medium, and independent filmmaking particularly acts as a community building tool. And what a fantastic way to bring community and have gatherings around that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so very happy about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I know we are a bit over time, but I have the time. I just know it's Sunday, so I don't want to hold anybody back. So if there's any final question, reflection, thought, I'm happy to hang around for a couple of more minutes.
Well, along with what
I
you're
guess
saying,
say, oh,
okay.
sorry.
No, I was just going to say quickly, and then don't lose your thought, Ken. I was just saying, to me, what you're saying is, like it's the inspiration to just keep, in my mind, just keep making whatever it is that you do and don't stop. And that's always what goes through my mind when we have these, talks and stuff like that. Is like, and what Gabriel was saying about everybody being so creative. Yes, everybody is really creative, and that should be out there, and we should be able to enjoy it and experience it and have the community experience of it. So yeah, it's that. Yeah, just keep doing. Don't stop. And even though it may seem small, although it may not seem that important, it turns out to be. You touch somebody somewhere, and to me that's important. And people experience it that way. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Ken.
Yeah, and in that vein, it's not just ideas, it's execution. I think we all have incredible ideas that we could act on. And there also are a lot of ideas that are just ideas that other people have had, but it's not the idea that makes it interesting, it's the execution. Like you look back on somebody like Shakespeare, who we still celebrate, but his plays weren't really that original. And so it's
Right.
what you do with those ideas that you have that will determine how successful it is, or how it moves people.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of as Joseph Campbell wrote about a lot, the collective unconsciousness, that every positive thing that we create and actualize and follow through on is part of that, and affects in small ways and minuscule ways what happens with everybody. So
Yeah, I just read that line last night.
Oh wow.
what happens to everybody, it's so what you are experiencing personally, it's not necessarily limited to you, and it comes from a lot of oral history, because we've had so many generations of storytelling, oral storytelling around fires and caves. So it's not necessarily something new and limited to yourself. And that's why it's very important to express and put it out there. And even if you have one or two people who are part of your journey, that's a huge blessing. And maybe, the rest will follow your bliss. I think he mentioned that too.
Yeah.
Gabriel, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I wanted to ask Gabriel something.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to ask. You talked about you have something that says it's Go Gabriel. Is it a website that we could maybe see? Can we see some of your work on there, some of your films, or something?
There you can see the books and couple of films,
Okay.
connections to them, to the films. So yeah.
So it's a website, like not on YouTube, or not a Facebook page, or something like that.
No, the one film, The Last Conception, a feature, is on Amazon Prime, and
okay.
through a distributor and other places. It's on YouTube also, and a bunch
The
of
Last Conception. Okay.
yeah.
I'm just writing that down so that I can take a look. I'm very happy
Well,
to take a look at it.
hope
So,
you enjoy it.
how were you involved with that? Did you write that? Did you produce
Yeah,
that? What
I
was
wrote that and was executive producer. So
cool. Very cool. Very nice.
Yeah, it came out. I was, even when I think after watching the film and it's all been, everything's done, I just go, oh, we could have done this one thing differently. And I wish,
Yeah,
I still, even after we put it out, and the same with a short that's coming out, Shoujo, like, oh, the ending's good, but we maybe should have done this or that or
that's
this.
funny. Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
still feel like that.
yeah.
Which is the inspiration to to do the next film probably, or
Yeah,
write the
good.
next story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'll visit your website, Gabrielle, and I'll also share a link to this talk. And I just feel that so much time we had so much time, and since the beginning, and I still feel time flew, and I'm at a loss of words, and I had so much to say. So, and
one of my thoughts with I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know you're wrapping up, was that with our filmmaking, with these poetry films, I think we can create kindness for ourselves and others, because you had mentioned kindness and ethics earlier, and I think that's one of the things that these films have given me, is a sense, a greater sense of calm, and a sense of kindness. I think I have expanded my heart toward others since Ken and I started making these. And when I walk down the street and I see someone lying on the sidewalk, I regard him or her differently. I don't just step over. I think of them as human beings and not as obstructions. Or I think that may be one of the takeaways of the poetry filmmaking, is creating a sense of fellow feeling toward our human beings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel that, and just recently, I'm still cultivating this. I was writing the director's statement for the feature film, and I just bumped into what Aristotle said, and I know a couple of things that he said, and he talked about the good life and the flourishing life. Actually, one of our panelists, who we are featuring next in 3 weeks, George Souris from New York, he talks about the good life and the flourishing life, as Aristotle would say, because he's an art philosopher, and so it was very inspiring to hear. And when it came to writing the director's statement, I was plugging that in, and then I bumped into more things that Aristotle said, and he talked about friendship, the virtue of friendship, and I was like, yeah, that's something we do discuss in our film too. Right, Ken? We talked about friends and family and how important they are, and I was I like fantasizing this? Like, I thought it was just me talking, but no. I mean, Aristotle talked about the virtue of friendship, and the will to actually having or practicing these virtues. So it's nothing new. It's just that I think with the kind of social media we have now, like, there's a lot of division, and the world is quite divisive, and so it's nice to return to those older texts. So I feel, like, in the future, when the film is done and I have more time and I can continue more with workshops, and Ken said that this feature film that we're working on talks about creativity. I never really thought about that, but I think that's something to put out there, to inspire other people, like how to be creative and in very simple ways, and to return to some of these beautiful old texts.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that feature is also very much about creativity. I think Ken noticed that. I didn't really consciously think, but it is about being creative. Yes. So yeah. I can keep going on about it, but that would be another time.
No, there are many branches that have come from this conversation. I know we could go off on many of them.
Yeah, I
I
know. It's just,
was just
no,
going to
it's
say one thing about what Burnham was saying about the people on the streets. And I remember somebody saying this to me once, and it sort of really turned my head. And it was like each one of those people have a mother, and when you think about, yeah, all those people have a mother. They were born, they had a mother. It kind of like turned your head, It's like they're not just this thing on the street. That's a person that has a mother, and it really was very moving to me.
Yeah, I used, when I encountered this, I lived in Manhattan for 40 years straight. And one of the things mental trick I did with myself, I thought of that person as being a mewling, puking baby in his or her mother's arms.
Oh wow!
And
that's some visual.
Yeah, and thinking of that, it made me feel very loving toward them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if San Francisco has a similar problem or not. I don't know San Francisco, but it's hard not to see all the people and have reactions. Yeah, emotions.
Yeah, it reminds me too of Mother Teresa always said she saw Christ in each person, which is sort of saying the same thing, but in a religious sense. So
that's what I always liked about bowing to the God and
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take us down such a sad road.
No, I got excited about. I was excited to hear about Mother Teresa and Dalai Lama, and Burnham. One last question. I was very curious because you carry and you share so much world knowledge. What were some of the countries that that really touched you and brought to where you are right now, especially with today's film? Would you say that some of these countries were really inspirational for you? Can you name some of them? I'm just curious. I love travel.
Well, this film in particular would be India, which I went to in 2016, and Tibet, that I went to in 2019. And being in Tibet, China was really eye-opening and very, for instance, we were in a pharmacy, a large, like a Rexall, at closing time, and the shop woman invited our group. I was with 5 friends, invited us to sit in lawn chairs outside of their store while the cashiers and people who worked there danced. And they danced for us, and it was amazing. And also, speaking of dance, in Shendoa, at dusk, the whole village, the city, but there was like a village square, and it would be a group dance, and it would be grandmothers down to small children, and they would all be doing like a large circle dance. So I found dancing, and then tai chi in the morning. I found movement and dance very very significant in China. That was something interesting, and I think that movement with the camera moving, I think it's kind of all related. So I think going to Tibet and India had an effect on meditation in the maelstrom.
Thank you for sharing that. I went to China once, but I was in a very big city of Shanghai, so I wasn't able to witness the kind of like movement that you saw. So you were in a very special place to see that. So that's wonderful. That kind of movement and having people coming together through that movement of dance. So that's beautiful. So yeah, I could keep going myself with all the countries I went to and where I lived, but yeah, it won't take too much time. I know it's a Sunday, and I know you must be having plans, and I'm just probably gonna go back and review the film, and hopefully today is gonna be the last day. But such an honor and pleasure, Burnham, to meet you. I hope we meet in person. I was going to meet you in person when I was with Ken last time, but
Okay.
I had to go and pay another cinematographer for the same film. So
Well, I'm sure we'll have another chance because
Mhm.
I visit New York City frequently.
yeah, and New York is not far at all. I'm just waiting for certain conditions, political conditions to change.
Oh,
Yeah,
Karen and
we
I
all are.
aren't we
We all
all?
are.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's a whole different subject. We could talk till midnight on this one.
Quick, let's all say goodbye.
I know, right? No, I have somebody who'd said, "Oh, I'm going to be going to Canada. Do you want to meet me there?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm afraid to leave the country because not to leave it. I don't think they're going to let me back in."
Exactly.
I was like, that's my
I was
fear. It's like,
asking you
they'll
to
probably let
visit
me out,
Montreal.
but I don't think I'll be able to come back. So I don't know. So I was like, and I never thought I'd feel that about going to Canada.
I
I mean,
know.
really. I mean, really. It's like then that's right here, let alone elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes. So yeah, please stay safe, Samina. We want you safe.
Yeah.
Oh my
Stay
God.
safe and care for one another.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we're gonna meet in person, like probably in a couple of years. So
Okay.
maybe not this year. So maybe in a year or
Okay.
two. So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to that,
Good.
and we'll continue the conversations. And thank you once again, Burnham, for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank all of you.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Gabriel, too.
You too.
I
I meet all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel, so much for coming today, and very nice to meet also. I hate to say bye, but I'm sure there's going to be a next time.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say goodbye.